October 24, 1942. Guadalcanal, Solomon Islands. The jungle is alive with the sound of Japanese soldiers advancing toward Henderson Field. Approximately 3,000 enemy troops are attacking across a 1-mile front. The 1st Marine Division has approximately 8,000 men defending the entire perimeter. The line is spread thin, too thin. At a position called Lunga Ridge, Sergeant John Basilone commands a machine gun section of 15 Marines. His orders are to hold this position. The Japanese need to break through here to reach the airfield. If they take Henderson Field, they take Guadalcanal. If they take Guadalcanal, they cut off Allied supply lines to Australia. Basilone's section has 2 Browning M1917 water-cooled machine guns and limited ammunition. The Japanese have 3,000 soldiers. The math does not work. For the next 2 days and 2 nights, John Basilone will prove that math does not matter. He will fire his machine gun until the barrel glows red. He will change barrels with his bare hands because he has no asbestos gloves. He will repair jammed weapons under fire. He will carry ammunition through enemy positions. When the Japanese finally retreat, there will be 38 Japanese bodies stacked in front of Basilone's position. He will receive the Medal of Honor for this action. The Marine Corps will send him home as a war hero. He will refuse to stay. His decision to return to combat will cost him everything. The problem facing the United States Marine Corps on Guadalcanal was not a lack of courage. Marines had landed on the island in August 1942 and captured Henderson Field from Japanese forces. The problem was holding it. Japanese forces launched constant attacks trying to retake the airfield. The attacks came at night, when American air power could not provide support. They came in waves, designed to overwhelm defensive positions through sheer numbers. American forces on Guadalcanal were outnumbered, undersupplied, and exhausted. Many Marines had malaria, food was scarce, ammunition was rationed. The defensive perimeter around Henderson Field was so large that gaps existed between units. Japanese forces exploited these gaps constantly. The Marines needed soldiers who could hold critical positions even when surrounded. They needed machine gunners who would not retreat when the enemy overran neighboring positions. They needed men who could function when everything went wrong. John Basilone was exactly what they needed. Basilone was a working-class American. He was born in Buffalo, New York, in 1916, the 6th of 10 children. His father was an Italian immigrant who worked as a tailor. Basilone joined the Army in 1934 at age 18 and served in the Philippines. He returned to the United States in 1937, worked briefly as a truck driver, then joined the Marine Corps in 1940. He wanted to see combat. The Army had been too slow for him. By October 1942, Basilone was a sergeant in the 1st Battalion, 7th Marines. His specialty was the Browning M1917 machine gun, a water-cooled weapon that fired .30-06 ammunition at 450 rounds per minute. Basilone could disassemble and reassemble the weapon blindfolded. He could clear jams in seconds. He knew exactly how many rounds he could fire before the barrel needed changing. His fellow Marines called him Manila John because of his Army service in the Philippines. They respected his technical knowledge. They did not yet know what he could do under pressure. Basilone's technique with the machine gun was built on understanding the weapon's capabilities and limitations. The M1917 was reliable but heavy. It required a water jacket around the barrel to prevent overheating. When the water in the jacket boiled away, the barrel had to be changed. This required removing the hot barrel and installing a cool one. The process took approximately 30 seconds with proper tools and gloves. Basilone did not always have time for proper procedures. On the night of October 24th, Japanese forces began their assault on Lunga Ridge at approximately 9 p.m. Basilone's 2 machine guns opened fire. The Japanese advanced in waves. The first wave died. The second wave died. The third wave got closer. Basilone's guns fired continuously. The water jackets boiled. The barrels glowed red in the darkness. Basilone needed to change barrels. He had no asbestos gloves. He grabbed the barrel with his bare hands anyway. His hands burned. He ignored it. The new barrel went in. The gun resumed firing. For 2 days and 2 nights, the same pattern repeated. Japanese forces attacked, and Basilone's guns killed them. The guns jammed, and Basilone cleared the jams under fire. When ammunition ran low, Basilone ran through enemy-held territory to bring back ammunition from other positions. At one point, Japanese forces overran the neighboring positions on both sides of Basilone's gun emplacement. Basilone was surrounded, but he kept firing. The Japanese could not advance through his field of fire. They tried to flank him, and Basilone repositioned one gun to cover the new approach. 2 of his Marines were killed. Basilone operated both guns himself, running between positions. When dawn came on October 25th, the Japanese pulled back. Basilone counted 38 Japanese bodies directly in front of his position. The total Japanese casualties in his sector were much higher. His commanding officer found Basilone still at his gun. His hands were covered in burns. His uniform was shredded. He had not slept in 48 hours. When asked if he needed medical attention, Basilone said he needed more ammunition. The specifications of what Basilone achieved seem impossible. 2 machine guns, 15 Marines at the start, 8 survived, 2 days of continuous combat, ammunition resupply under fire, barrel changes with bare hands, 38 confirmed enemy killed in his immediate sector, unknown additional casualties from supporting fire. The Marine Corps concluded that Basilone's actions prevented a breakthrough that would have compromised the entire defensive line. His Medal of Honor citation described his actions as above and beyond the call of duty, but that seemed inadequate. What Basilone did was suicidal. He stayed when every rational calculation said retreat. He grabbed red-hot metal with bare hands. He ran through enemy fire for ammunition. He survived through skill, luck, and an absolute refusal to acknowledge that he could die. The Marine Corps sent Basilone back to the United States in December 1943. They made him a national hero. He went on war bond tours across the country. He met movie stars. He was celebrated at rallies. The Marine Corps offered him a commission as an officer and a training position stateside. He would never have to see combat again. He would be safe. His family begged him to accept. Basilone refused. He told his commanders he was a Marine, not a parade soldier. He told them other Marines were still fighting while he sold war bonds. He said he belonged in combat. The Marine Corps tried to convince him to stay. They pointed out that his war bond tours were raising millions of dollars. They said he had already done his part. Basilone did not care. He said, "I'm going back." In December 1944, Basilone returned to combat with the 5th Marine Division. He had volunteered for the invasion of Iwo Jima. February 19, 1945, Iwo Jima, the beach landings. Basilone came ashore with the first wave. Japanese artillery and machine guns had pre-registered the beach. Marines were dying before they left their landing craft. Basilone's unit was pinned down by Japanese bunkers. He led a demolition team to destroy a bunker that was killing Marines on the beach. He guided a tank through a minefield. He exposed himself to enemy fire repeatedly to direct his men. At approximately 10:30 in the morning, a Japanese mortar round landed near Basilone's position. Shrapnel tore through his body. He died instantly. He was 28 years old. He had been on Iwo Jima for less than 3 hours. The Marine who could have spent the rest of the war safe in the United States had died on a volcanic island 760 miles from Tokyo. His body was buried in Arlington National Cemetery with full military honors. The question that everyone who knew Basilone asked was simple. Why did he go back? He had survived Guadalcanal. He had earned the Medal of Honor. He was famous. He could have stayed in the United States, trained recruits, and lived through the war. Instead, he volunteered for one of the bloodiest battles in Marine Corps history. The answer depends on who you ask. Some said Basilone felt guilty about being safe while other Marines died. Some said he missed the brotherhood of combat. Some said he simply could not function in civilian society after what he had experienced. Basilone himself never gave a clear answer. He just said he belonged with Marines in combat. That was where he was needed. That was where he would go. But there was a cost to Basilone's decision that became clear after his death. Basilone had married shortly before deploying to Iwo Jima. His wife Lena was also a Marine. She begged him not to go back to combat. He went anyway. After his death, Lena spent the rest of her life honoring his memory. She never remarried. She died in 1999, 54 years after Basilone was killed. Some family members said Basilone should have stayed home. His death did not need to happen. He had already proven his courage. But Basilone had made his choice. He chose to be with Marines in combat rather than safe at home. Some called this heroism. Some called it a death wish. Perhaps it was both. John Basilone's legacy in the Marine Corps is complicated. He is one of only 3 Marines to receive both the Medal of Honor and the Navy Cross. Streets and buildings are named after him. His hometown holds an annual parade in his honor. But some Marines question whether his return to combat was necessary. His war bond tours raised millions of dollars. They argue that Basilone alive and selling bonds was more valuable than Basilone dead on Iwo Jima. Others disagree violently. They say Basilone understood that Marines do not abandon their brothers, that your place is with your unit, in combat regardless of personal risk, that staying home safe while others fight is worse than death. This debate has never been resolved. A comparison with other Medal of Honor recipients tells Basilone's story. Audie Murphy received the Medal of Honor and became a movie star, living to age 45. Alvin York received it in World War I and lived to 76. Daniel Inouye received it in World War II and became a United States Senator, living to 88. These men used their fame and survival to build post-war lives. John Basilone received the Medal of Honor and volunteered to die on Iwo Jima. In the arithmetic of survival, Basilone made the wrong choice. In the arithmetic of Marine Corps values, he made the only choice he could live with. There was one limitation to Basilone's approach. His identity was completely tied to being a combat Marine. When taken out of combat, he could not function. The war bond tours drove him insane. The celebrity was meaningless. The safety felt like cowardice. Basilone needed combat. Without it, he had no purpose. So he went back, and it killed him. The unstoppable Marine who held off 2,000 Japanese for 2 days could not be stopped by enemy bullets, could not be stopped by burns to his hands, could not be stopped by lack of ammunition. But he could not survive peace. He could not survive being safe. He could not survive being a hero instead of a Marine. Some men are built for combat and destroyed by everything else. John Basilone was one of those men. He survived Guadalcanal because he was in his element. He died on Iwo Jima for the same reason. He had chosen to be where the fighting was. That choice defined him. That choice killed him. That was Marine Corps devotion. That was John Basilone.